Welcome back to the Fairy Garden series, where memories glow gently and wishes float up like lanterns in the night. Today's story is about Olivia, two special dogs, and the light that keeps love shining, even when someone is gone. This is The Sky Light Wishes. The sky felt too large that evening, wider than it had ever been. Olivia sat on the soft grass at the edge of her garden, holding her favorite old blanket. The stars looked far away, like little windows into memories she could no longer touch. Somewhere deep in her chest, a quiet ache began to bloom. She whispered into the dark, "I miss you." The words floated upward, lost among the lights. Tank had been big enough to cover her whole lap, with a bark that sounded like thunder wrapped in laughter. Peanut was smaller, always darting between Tank's paws, her face dotted with freckles that matched the spots on Olivia's favorite mug. Together, they had chased beetles across the yard, rolled in fresh clover, and fallen asleep under the sun, tangled in fur and giggles. Now the garden felt quieter, too quiet. Only soft paw prints and memories lingered on the stones, as though the world had taken a long breath and forgotten to let it out. A faint shimmer glowed beyond the lavender patch, just as the night deepened. Olivia blinked. A breeze, light as a sigh, brushed her cheek. And then, like moonlight finding its way through mist, the fairies arrived. Their wings reflected stars, their faces kind. Bella landed first, her ribbons trailing behind like tiny comets. Christella carried a pouch of clay. Mella knelt near the soil, breathing in its grounding scent. Amelia, ever soft and radiant, hummed a tune that made the night tremble with warmth. They gathered around her, sitting cross-legged among the dandelions. "We felt something tonight," said Bella, her voice low and careful. "Your heart was calling through the quiet." Olivia nodded. Her throat tightened. She wasn't sure what to say, but somehow the fairies already understood. They didn't fill the silence with words. They filled it with presence. The kind that wraps around sadness without demanding it change. Bella reached out a hand. "When you think of love," she said, "it doesn't disappear. It just changes shape." Olivia pressed her face into her blanket and whispered, "I just wish I could see them again." Christella touched the rim of the teacup beside her, still warm from earlier cocoa. "Then let's make something to hold the wish," she said. The fairies exchanged knowing looks, the kind of look that meant a plan was already forming. They began gathering the softest pieces of the garden, petals that shimmered pale gold, feathers left from morning birds, and the silvery webs of evening dew. Mella mixed a little soil into the base, grounding the creation in the earth where memories begin. Bella added thin ribbon from her hair and tied it to a stick that Christella had shaped into a frame. Amelia hummed again, her tune steady and round like comfort itself. Together they built something delicate but strong, a kite made of memory and moonlight. Each fairy tied a piece of thread along the kite's tail. Christella spoke first, remembering the way Tank had spun in circles chasing his own tail. Mella smiled at the thought of Peanut's determined little hops over garden roots. Amelia added a moment of laughter, the time both pups had tried to steal her biscuit. Bella, with eyes glimmering, wrote down a few lines about guardianship and loyalty. They each offered their stories until the air was thick with love. Olivia added her own piece, a lavender heart cut from her blanket. She wrote on it, "I miss you, I love you, good night." Then she held the kite for a moment longer, as though it were the last hug she hadn't yet given. When she finally let go, the string trembled in her hands before lifting into the night. The kite rose gracefully, carried by a wind that felt both familiar and new. It shimmered with every beat of her heart. It spun through the stars like a lantern finding its place, drifting over the garden in wide, slow arcs. Fireflies gathered near, circling in little halos of gold. The night air smelled like rosemary and soft rain. Olivia wiped a tear that caught the moonlight. For just an instant, she thought she saw movement in the sky, a shadowy outline of wagging tails, playful and sure. Tank and Peanut tumbling through the stars. There was no sound, just the sense of it, a familiar rhythm in her chest. Two shapes brushed past the moon before vanishing. Olivia didn't need to see more. The feeling was enough. They were still near, still running. The garden, once quiet, now pulsed with life. Love hadn't gone anywhere. It had simply changed form, from something she could hold to something she could feel. She sat with the fairies on her blanket, all of them gazing upward. "Maybe love doesn't leave," she whispered. "It just keeps glowing." Mela nodded. "Like the lanterns we send during festival nights," she said. "Even when they fade, their light reaches somewhere." Amelia passed her a small cup of cocoa. It tasted like memory and comfort. The stars blinked in approval. Bella gathered thin papers and a quill dipped in moon ink. "Let's make skylight wishes," she said. Each fairy wrote a small note of remembrance, a word, a drawing, a name. When they were done, they folded the papers and tied them to strings of golden thread. The garden filled with the soft shimmer of wishes, glowing like stars that had drifted too close to Earth. Later, as the fairies prepared to leave, Olivia watched the last of the kites fade into the clouds. "I think I understand now," she said quietly. "Love doesn't end when someone leaves. It just finds another way to reach you." Bella smiled. "Exactly," she said. "You've turned your missing into remembering. That's the secret to carrying love forward." Above the trees, a streak of light crossed the sky. Amelia lifted her gaze. "They heard you," she whispered. Olivia smiled through the tears that came anyway. "I think I heard them too." The night settled into something peaceful, still big, but not empty. Every star felt like a message waiting to be found. Thank you for remembering with us today. Wishes and memories never really disappear. They just glow differently. We'll see you again in the Fairy Garden series.